Okay, so how to digitize data sets where there's a new feature class that you've created in a file geodatabase, or it's an existing data set, or it's an existing shapefile, feature, whatever it is. We have digitizing tools available to us in ArcGIS Pro. So you can see here, my base map is World Imagery Hybrid. Road network is in turquoise, so that's a line data set. My special areas of conservation are my polygons. So let's take it from the point of view that I want to expand this special area of conservation data set, right? So I want to first create a new data set, and then secondly, want to modify one. There's a third option, which is just delete, but that's the easiest option to do, right? But there's three main ways we digitize data. First, create. Secondly, update. And then third, delete if we need to. From here, I don't really need to highlight anything to get going with this, because if I click edit, right, so the edit tab, I have these three different options: create, modify, delete. I also have options to select, right? I have a few different tools available to me as well. But from here, we'll cover the most commonly used workflows, which is number one, create. So how do I create a record within the special areas of conservation? And if I zoom in to an area and I say, oh, it's very easy to create a new special areas of conservation, and I say, oh, I want to go click create, you can see here any data set that's visible and that's editable automatically comes up on the right hand side, right? So if I turn on schools geocoded, you see they come up as well. If I want to turn off road network, I can just focus on special areas of conservation. A few different options here, really only cover two of them. One is polygon and one is trace. The other ones, feel free to mess around with, but they're very kind of niche workflows in my experience, right? That majority of the time, if you're digitizing things, you're going to click on polygon. You're going to left click to start drawing. And then double left click to finish. That's one way to do it. You can see create, modify, delete. Obviously, this isn't the best digitizing effort I could do, so I'm going to delete it. But that's one way to do it. Just like polygon, start left clicking, right? Points along each vertex is what they're called, vertices for plural. But essentially, you're plotting points along an area boundary, and that's how you draw your polygon. The other option, though, the more sophisticated option, is to make use of existing GIS geometries, right? And what I mean by that is, say I have a road network, and say for argument's sake, just for this instance, you know, my actual special area of conservation is going to be everything either side of this road here, right? That I almost have a geometry I can rip out. And it doesn't matter whether you use polygons, polylines, whatever it is. I can click here and I can go to trace. All I have to do then, once I have special areas of conservation selected in my templates, I can left click a line on the road network and literally just, I'm not left clicking, I'm not doing anything, I'm just dragging it to where I think it should be. And that's how to get really complex polygons based on polylines if you need it to be. But that's how to get them digitized. Because now if I turn off my road network and I hit clear on select, that's my polygon. Yeah. And if I right click, go to attribute table, I can see there's a null sign here. If I highlight it, comes up in turquoise. And then I could say this is new SAC, special area of conservation, whatever. You can see it's automatically, there's not much in this attribute table. It's only showing shape, length, shape, area, and that's fine. But if you need to give it a new name, you go in and go from there. If you need to edit anything, just double left click, edit it to whatever it needs to be, and press enter. And again, the most important thing to note when we are editing is that there's discrete editing sessions that go on, right? So there's a start to an editing session, there's a stop to an editing session. And if I want to save these edits, I can go save and go from there. Now, notice that if I highlight special areas of conservation in my table of contents and I go to, you know, like single symbol, whatever it is, and I want to give this maybe like a color, maybe I want to come down here, go to color properties, give it a transparency, 50 say, that is now a polygon, even though it's being traced off a polyline, right? So just a line road network, it does exist in ArcGIS Pro as a polygon, yeah? So that's the two different ways to do, to create features. If you have a case where you're coming in, and let's choose another special area of conservation, maybe. This, I have select, right? So if I'm updating something, so that's how to create things. You can do polygon and just start left clicking things along an area boundary, or you can trace existing GIS geometries. The second option then is to modify things. So if I want to modify things, I can select what I want to modify, and up pops my modify features, right? These are the options available to me that if I want to, you know, split it. And again, this is something that's kind of hard to teach, right? Because we're not obviously refer to the documentation, the actual official ArcGIS documentation, if you want to know what each one of these buttons means. But the most commonly used workflows are edit vertices, reshape, and split. If I wanted to split it, I just draw a line, it's split into two polygons. Yeah, so they're each discrete polygons now, it's split into two. If you wanted to do it across a field boundary, of course, I just press Control Z and I say, oh, well, actually, you know, maybe it follows this. You know, you don't need to draw a straight line like I just did. You can mess around with it. Again, Control Z undoes things, just so I'm showing you what you can do here. The other one is edit vertices. Now you can see this is quite a complex polygon, but the idea here is that you can add vertices to it, or you can select individual vertices, go across here, or of course you can add vertices along a line, and essentially all you're doing is adding a point. A vertex is a point, or I can delete vertices off it. Yeah. Select. Now there's a few different ways to do it. You can select the discrete ones, or just select them all and it's going to delete them for you. Yeah. That's edit vertices. And then rough and ready, if you just wanted to reshape it, you know, so if you wanted to reshape it to include this tract of land here, for argument's sake, I could go reshape, start my drawing. So start my crosshairs within the polygon, digitize the new tract that I want to add to this existing record. And then it's very important that you finish within the polygon, and that's going to reshape it. Okay, so rough and ready, three most commonly used buttons or tools when we come to modifying or updating GIS data sets in ArcGIS Pro: edit vertices, reshape, and split. And again, there's tons more, right? But it just depends on your project workflow that you're going into. You know, alignment, I've never seen, you know, unless it's like fundamentally offset, you know, you can directly drag and drop it across if you want. But I've never seen kind of need for it outside of like 3D models, maybe, you know. But again, Control Z is your friend when you're editing, undo things, or alternatively, you just want to delete things as well. Just highlight it, delete it. It's gone from the map. Click save or click discard and go from there. But that is rough and ready how to edit data in ArcGIS Pro.